Alright, I'm here to do a new tech dump. I'm calling it video. Dang, the screen time out on this phone is so low. I should have set it higher for the purposes of this video. Let me see here. Get in here. Settings. Where's the display? Display. Great, I can't find display on this. You can tell I do these. Oh, there it is. It's up top. Where the frick is timeout? Doesn't seem to have a timeout button. Screen timeout 30 seconds. We'll put up to 1 minute. Maybe it'll help a little. Alright, this thing has a really low display timeout too, and I know I reset it to 1 minute not long ago. I think it has an auto one once the wallpaper's in. Anyways, so these are my new, I bought 3 new devices recently. This is about $350, $250, $150, what is that? 6, 7, $850, about $850 of new tech. All brand new, not used, that I've gotten in the mail in the last couple of days. And I want to talk about them. This is a Galaxy S5e tablet. This is the new iPad 7th Gen 10.2 inch. And this is a it's an LG G7 Fit smartphone. Why did I get these? What's the story? The Tab S5e. This is probably going to be the one that ends up my personal tablet, or it almost surely is. And the story behind it is, if you know, listen to my videos, you know I'm on this forum called Slick Deals all the time. And they had a slick deal for a Tab S4 at Best Buy open box like a few months ago, and it was for $155. It's kind of like your mileage may vary, meaning you might go to the store and find nothing, but a lot of them were clearancing out there at S-Tab 4 open box, which means somebody returned it basically for $155, which those are like $400 plus tablets. I went and sure enough they had one and I grabbed it, the last one I believe. And I was thrilled because I'd never really had a Samsung tablet before. And the OLED screen, the quad firing speakers, they were just amazing. It was amazing, great device. And I was happy with it, but there was one little issue, and this kind of gets into me being kind of OCD. I didn't even notice it for like the first couple weeks I had it, but there's a little scratch right in the middle of the screen. And that just soured me on the whole thing. I just decided I didn't like the tablet because that little scratch, like every time it was on, I would be looking for the little scratch, and you could barely see it. It was really nothing. It was really just me being OCD and stupid. There's no rational reason for it. And another really stupid thing was, I think if I'd have put the scratch on there myself, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But somehow, since I got it that way, it bugged me. Now that makes absolutely no sense, right? But yeah, there's a little scratch right in the center, and it started to annoy me. So I kind of just didn't want to look at the tablet anymore. So stupid, but so I wasn't really using it. So then a deal came along where the Tab S5e was on sale. It's normally $399 on Samsung's website for $349, and they give you very generous trade-in values. So for the Tab S4, they were offering $250 trade-in. So I in essence paid $100 to get rid of a tiny little scratch in the middle of the screen. I also put like my own little couple scratches on the side here, I believe, later on. So there was more than just the one scratch by the time I traded it in. But now, as far as Samsung, they offer very generous trade-in policies that I've seen. And basically, they're awesome in a few ways. First of all, they only require you to return the bare tablet. You don't need any chargers. In fact, they tell you don't include any chargers or anything. So that's great. So that makes it easy to just, you don't have to worry about finding your chargers or having the pen or anything. They say just the bare tablet only. So that makes it easy to ship everything. Next thing they say, they ask you 3 things only. Will you factory reset the device? Yes. Does it have any cracks? Now mine had a couple scratches, but no cracks. No, And will the device turn on? I think it says, something like that. 3 simple questions, and it's approved, I guess, apparently. Now they have to look at it themselves, but I'm confident it'll be approved. So all those, just if you answer yes to those 3 questions, you're good. And they take the price off when you order. It's not a case of like you pay $350, you send them your trade in. They decide later if they're giving you the $250 trade in value. No, you answer the questionnaire and saying you're trading something in. They take it off the price right there. So when you check out, you only pay $100. Like in my case, I had a $250 trade in, and this was on sale for $350. So I only paid $100 for it. And I already sent in my trade in, and just like a couple days, and they pay the shipping too. Another great thing, they send you a shipping label by email. You don't even have to pay shipping. I mean, it's amazing. The only thing you have to do is, I guess, supply your own box, pack it yourself. But you can use the box the s5e comes in, because they send it to you about when your new tablet arrives anyway. So you're never without a tablet or anything. It's great. They send you the shipping label and stuff, and they give you like 15 days from receipt of your new tablet, I think. So you got all kinds of time, And so I already sent it in. They've already sent me an email saying they received it. They haven't, like today, because I just sent it in like, I think it was Tuesday, and it's now Thursday. So they got it in 2 days, apparently. So yeah, it's looking really good. And here's the thing, even if they don't take it, even if they somehow come up with some excuse and say like, oh, it didn't work right or something, it doesn't matter, because I know the tablet will sell on s5e or somewhere else for $250. I know it has $250 of value in it. So even if they send it back, I won't be worried. You can request it back, and I believe it's free as well. I believe the shipping back is free. Like if they look at it and they say doesn't fit their resale policies, which again I don't see why it wouldn't, because scratches don't matter and things like that. Then you have the option of requesting it back, and they'll send it back to you free. Which that's the worst case scenario, and I'm not worried about that, because I know I can sell the thing for about $250 of value. So even worst case scenario, they send it back to me, I'm not worried about it. But I don't think they will. Don't see why they would. So anyways, so that's the story on that. So it's really stupid, because this is like a little less powerful than the Tab S4. This is the Tab S5e that I got. And so I basically paid $100 to downgrade slightly, in theory, and get rid of like a little scratch in the middle that you couldn't even hardly really see most of the time. So that's my stupidity right there. But anyways, I'm happy with it now. I honestly thought about not going through with it, but once everything was ordered, it was like, I'm committed now. And plus, they give you great value trade-in on this. This thing has 300 trade-in value at Samsung. So though I paid $350, technically, I mean, I can get almost all the value back by trading it in. So I'm not beholden to anything, because my main issue with this is I'm not sure the processor is going to be fast enough for me. I think it is, but it's got kind of a mid-range processor. It's got a Snapdragon 670, which Geekbench 5 scores like 330, like 350-ish on single core, and 1400-ish on multi-core. I hope that's going to be enough. It's a little slow and a little choppy, just about the same as my Tab S4 with the Snapdragon 835 was. It's only about 10% less powerful than the S4 in CPU power, which is all I care about. Now the GPU is like way less powerful. Like I think it's only like a third as powerful as the Tab S4 GPU. But I don't care about that, because the only reason you really need a GPU is to game, and I don't game on them. So for me, the only thing I care about is the CPU power, because that's what governs web surfing basically. And in CPU power, this is only maybe like 10% less than the Tab S4. Oh, cool. It had a double tap to wake that I didn't even know about. Doesn't look like the iPad does. Let's see what the phone does. Yeah, it does too. But it doesn't stay on very long, because... so yeah, that's the story on that. Now, why these tablets are awesome. I love them because of these beautiful, just beyond beautiful OLED screens. If you don't see it in person, you just don't know how sublime these are. And these have the same screens across the Galaxy Tab S, except the A. I don't think it's... Yeah, the Tab S all have these beautiful OLED screens, which destroy any iPad screen. They're also unbelievably thin, and like they're thinner than the iPad. They have much better speakers than the iPad. They're better in a lot of ways. They have better specs in some ways. Like this has 4 GB RAM. The iPad 7th Gen only has 3 GB RAM. Things like that. Oh, this has, I think, 128. It has at least 64 gig storage. whereas this has only 32 gig storage. I can't remember if this is a 128. I think it says 64 now that I think about it. I think you got to pay extra for the 128. Or maybe you pay extra for the 256. I don't remember. But either way, this has at least twice the storage of the iPad. It has more RAM. It does have a significantly weaker CPU. The CPU on this is probably about twice as powerful as the CPU on this. Well, the single core is like double. It's like a 750 single core, I think, on the iPad. But the multi-core is like 5,000 on both, so your mileage may vary. This has 8 CPUs. It's an 8-core that get you to about 5,000 multi-core on Geekbench 4. This has about, or 1,400 on Geekbench 5. This is really a dual core. So 2 cores kind of almost equals 8 cores. So it really tells you how much more powerful each individual core is on the iPad. And single core performance is generally more important for like day-to-day use, but whatever the case may be. So that's why, and it could be Apple's software optimization as well. But in day-to-day use, I think I'm going to go ahead and show this as well. I can actually notice a difference. I wouldn't say really, but I can notice a difference. That the iPad is smoother and faster. But I think that the S5 is fast enough and good enough. I'm hoping. Because right now I'm kind of torn whether to keep it or trade it back in now and get a Tab S6, which is currently on sale for $550. With the $300 trade-in I could get for this, I could get it for $250. I'm thinking, and plus I can get a student discount. I'm not a student, but there's ways you can buy a student email on eBay for like $3 and get the student discount, which gives you a little more off. It was giving me like $30 more off. It wasn't giving me the full amount it's supposed to. I think because if you do a trade-in and the student discount, they start kind of, reducing the discounts because there's too much otherwise. I'm not sure, but so I can basically get the Tab S6 now for like $200 to $250 additional. I'm just not sure if it's worth it or not. It's much faster. It's like twice as fast. I don't know. I may do it. I may not. The reason I'd like to do it, one reason I'd like to do it is because I'd like to I won't worry about the power of this one. I'll worry that it's like over time it's not going to be fast enough, because I've had that happen on a few of my devices and it kind of sucks. Where like as the years roll on, they just get so slow as to be unusable. I've had it happen with the old Samsung tablet I had and a Chromebook I had. But I don't know. I mean, it's fine for now. It's definitely slower than the iPad, but it's fine for. All the reviews say that it's powerful enough for browsing and stuff, but if you're going to use it as like a desktop replacement, then you want to get the S6. Well, all I'm going to do is browse and stuff, so I may go with it. Now, it's the ultimate multimedia tablet versus the iPad. Because it's this 16:10 aspect ratio, movies don't have as much black bars as on the bottom and top. The speakers are much better than the iPad. So as a multimedia device, the Tab S5e definitely wins. No question. Whereas the iPad is probably better for like quote unquote productivity, but here's my thing: who honestly does productivity on an iPad? Like, all their viewers will say like the iPad's so much better because it has all these optimized apps. But I'm like, who even uses apps? I mean, honestly, who uses apps anymore? All I do with my tablet is surf the web and watch videos. What apps are people using? I don't know. Or I use apps like, I would use an app that doesn't, like a calculator or a interest calculator or something like that. What's the point of the, what apps are people? I saw one guy, I really dislike Apple fanboy reviewers. Max Tech, he's a big Apple fanboy. But he was showing how Lightroom was so much faster on the iPad. And I was like, who edits videos on an iPad? Like, if you're not editing videos on your PC, you're doing it wrong. Spoilers. I don't get it, but the iPad has all these great apps, blah blah blah. So I guess it does have better drawing apps according to one video I watched. I wouldn't know. I don't care about drawing. The Samsung does have Dex mode, which is really cool. It's their little pseudo desktop interface, and I really like how it's just a toggle in the settings over here. Oh, Dolby Atmos should be on all the time, I think. That's another thing. These are Dolby Atmos speakers. I don't know what that means in terms of a tablet, but there's 4 of them. They're quad firing. They're awesome. They're like way louder. See, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and on each side. They're way louder. They're like the loudest tablet speakers. Even though this tablet's much thinner, they're louder than the iPad speakers. And one thing that really helps me and comes into play is on my exercise bike. I put the tablet on there in a little tablet holder and watch videos on it, and this one has no problem being loud enough to overcome the sounds of the exercise bike by itself without needing any Bluetooth speaker or anything. Other tablets, including this one probably would do it too, but not as well. It's definitely quieter, I'll put it that way. Some tablets, it's like you don't quite have enough volume, so you got to go get a Bluetooth speaker, and that's really annoying. This one is great because the speakers can overcome the bike's pedaling volume with ease on its own. It's really thin too, compared to my even my S4 was thicker. It's so thin it has a camera hump in the back. I don't know if you can see. There's an actual that actually is raised out, which is kind of annoying when it's sitting on surfaces. But the thing is just so thin it needs it. I mean, it's so thin, it's ridiculous. So thin and light, amazing. The iPad is kind of crude by comparison. People, it's thicker. It's got big old bezels, all that stuff. But I'm bashing the iPad, but honestly, the iPad is a nice device. And the best thing about the iPad is, here I'm worried about, is this one going to be fast enough? In a year, okay, maybe it's fast enough now, but in a year, is it going to be really slowing down on me? You don't have to worry about that with the iPad. It's very fast. And I can tell the difference between them when I use them. I can tell this one scrolls choppy and stuff. I even did a test on a website. I may do that here. And I noticed, because what I'm going to be doing mostly is web browsing. And I noticed that the iPad is actually web browsing a little faster. Like when you click a link on a message board, it goes a little faster. I'll probably demonstrate that in a minute. But the iPad doesn't have the quad speakers. I think it just has 2 on the bottom here. Here, there they are. Another thing that reviewers haven't really talked about, but the real life use I've really noticed, is that the battery life on this is much better. The battery life on this is amazing. Look at this. I've had it on, I don't know how long. It's at 81%. It's very good battery life. I first noticed it when earlier, like I had the thing on for I think about 30 minutes after I took off the charger. I looked, it was at 99%. Like I didn't believe. I was like, is my mind playing tricks on me? What is going on? Did I not have it on as long as I thought? The battery life's incredible. I'd say the battery life is definitely better on the Tab S5e. Not only that, but another real world, to me, charging speed is a huge real world improvement that isn't talked about enough. Like I noticed it with my newest smartphone, my OnePlus 7 Pro. It charges really fast, and it's so nice. You can throw on a charger for 15, 20 minutes, and you get like 40 or 50% more juice. It's a game changer to be able to charge that fast. Really, to me, it's almost more important than, within reason, more battery life itself, Like I said, every once in a while I may have to, in the evening, throw my OnePlus 7 on the charger, but it takes literally 10 or 15 minutes to get a bunch, 25, 35% more juice back, just like that. And this OnePlus 7 Pro is a year old, so I'm sure they've got even faster charging phones now. This iPad charges really slow, just like my old one, and it only uses the Lightning jack. It doesn't have USB-C, which is annoying, because, for example, my charging stand, if you'd call it that, just a little area in my kitchen, basically, it has USB-C chargers. Well, I have to plug in a special plug just for the iPad. It's the only thing in the world that uses a damn Lightning adapter. And by the way, I thought the European Union banned that. I had read somewhere on the internet that the European Union was mandating everything go to USB-C and people not have proprietary chargers. I don't agree with a bunch of regulations and stuff, but why didn't that apply to the iPad? So you figure since this is sold as Europe, it would have to conform, and it would have to go to USB-C to conform with European regulations, but apparently not, or maybe it's just the American model uses Lightning and the European one uses USB-C, or maybe Apple got one of their special. We're Apple, so we don't have to follow the law exceptions. Remember when they tried to ban Samsung phones because they were rectangles? I do. You may not, but I do. They tried to file a patent or they tried to say that Samsung was infringing on their patents by making a rectangular phone because clearly Apple invented the rectangle. Good grief. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, you can hook a keyboard up to both, I believe. With the Apple, it has in theory mouse support, but not really because the mouse cursor is like a little circle and it's really ugly and stupid looking. Not a real mouse support in my opinion, my humble opinion. How come this one won't wait? This one has real mouse support. I've used it. You know, it has a cursor, a real mouse. This one I think only works with the Apple keyboard, which is like $150. Well, no, you could use a Bluetooth keyboard too. Same with this. So yeah, those are my the reason I don't like, another reason I will say that's stupid, and you can put whatever wallpaper you want here, but the built-in wallpapers on this iPad are ugly. Like, honestly, this is like the best one I've found, and I don't like it. It's kind of similar to this S10. Its wallpapers are mostly not very good either, but at least the best one I've found so far is this one, in my opinion. At least it's better than this. You know, it shows off the nice OLED colors. But like the Tab S4, I think has slightly better wallpapers. Stock. Of course, I believe you can go get whatever wallpaper you want, but then built-in wallpapers are kind of important in my opinion. And wallpapers are one of the things that make the display. That's just an ugly wallpaper in my opinion. And like I said, I looked at their wallpapers. It's like the best one I found. Just a little thing, I suppose. Same with the Tab S5e, really, but this one's better than the Apple, in my opinion. It was the best one I've found so far. For built-in. I didn't go on the web and look for them. Other than that, I don't know. Like, they're both good. Like I said, I prefer that Tab S5e, but I wish it was more powerful. But we'll see on that, and I may get the Tab S6. But then the price is a lot higher than the iPad. The iPad I got for $250 at Best Buy on sale. The iPad I'm probably going to give away to like my niece or a kid, not exactly my niece, because hers got cracked. So yeah. I was going to go ahead and show this web browsing situation on this gaming forum. Looks like it's already loaded up. Watch this. Oh, this is going to be impossible to film, I think. Okay, I might not be able to do this then. I was trying to tap the links at the same time and show you which one was faster. Dang, I really wish I could do it, but I don't have a stand for my phone to film with. So I guess I'll just have to tell you, which is that earlier I was tapping a link like I would just tap one of these topics. I may be able to do it if I can just. There's Super Smash Brothers, blah blah blah. These are like different. Let me kind of sync them up here. Come on, why is this one not refreshing? I'm pulling it down and it doesn't refresh. I guess pulling down does not refresh on Safari. Oh, I get it. They're indifferent. Shoot. I need a long topic so I can touch both of them, if that makes any sense. This is annoying. Well, I'll just say that you can see a little delay on web surfing there. Okay. Let's try this. There's not going to be any way I can touch both of them, I don't think, at the same time and get it off. I'm trying to split my fingers that much. I'll try. Huh? I didn't do it on this one. But long story short, I did some tests where I was clicking the topics on each, and it was a little faster on this iPad. It was loading quicker. So that was a little disturbing to me. I didn't know if I'd see any actual difference. Even now I can tell that this one's faster. and just web surfing, but I did. This one's very smooth. When I go back to this one, I can detect a little choppiness just on like when you do this, that move when the icons fly back in. I can see it right away, particularly just after you use this. It's buttery smooth. Well, it's not buttery smooth. People lie when they say iPads never stutter. They do. I had the 6th gen. It stuttered pretty often, probably because of the 2 gigabytes of RAM. And this one will stutter too, believe me. Like if you open a YouTube, I noticed it stuttering the other day, and then I full screen the YouTube, it would hit. It takes a while to like. It takes like a split second to full screen the YouTube. It's not instantaneous. It hitches, stutters, whatever you want to call it, all that kind of stuff. So the iPad is not immune to stuttering like iPad fanboys act, but it is very smooth overall. So yeah, that's that on these tablets. I like the s5e much better because I was going to talk about the worst thing that I hate about the iPad OS. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you cannot really delete all these icons on the iPad OS. I believe a lot of them are like stuck there. I don't know. Correct me if now. I think somebody was saying, or my brother told me or something, that you can put them all in folders, which is annoying to begin with. And I think I tried it once. I couldn't really figure it out. I guess you can like make a folder somehow, but I don't know how to make the folder either. And then you can try to put all these icons in a folder, but you can't ever delete the folder. So at least the folder is always going to be there. I'll have to look into it more, but I haven't really seen any YouTube videos where people have all the icons gone, so I don't think it's really much of a thing that people do. And another thing is I hate how they force all the icons to be up top. I like it like this, when on the bottom, and I like to put my own icon choices here. I like it just the exact way I want it, This is so annoying because all these icons are up top. I can't move them. Like, let me grab news. Oh, let me damn it, stop. So annoying. Put news. I'm going to move it down here. I don't want it down there. Oh, look, it pops back there. Good old Apple telling me, it's your tablet, but too bad, you can do what we want. That annoys me about iOS. Honestly, if like iPad would come out with more of a customization ability, where you could freaking move the icons where you want them, delete them completely if you want to. You can't do any of that stuff on iPad. It's really annoying. This one, I can put like a really pretty wallpaper and do the icons however I want and make it look really nice and make it my tablet. This one, it's Apple's tablet. Another thing I really like about Android, some of it may just be being used to it, is how intuitive this pull down shade is. It's very intuitive. It's awesome and I'm used to it and I love it. And Apple has sort of started copying that, and they kind of have a pull-down shade now too, but it's not nearly as full function that I can tell, and it's just a little bit more annoying. You actually have to go into settings of all things to do most things. It's very annoying, There's a lot of ways people praise iOS, and they say, "Oh, iOS is so great." And a lot of these biased reviews, they say iOS is why you should get an Apple tablet. Kind of to me, it's the opposite. iOS is why you shouldn't get an Apple tablet. Like, this is a great tablet for the price, the power for $250, and the screen quality. You're not touching on an Android for $250. The problem is the crappy OS. It's all locked down. It's very unintuitive. You have to actually go into settings to do a lot of things things that you can just do on the pull-down shade in Android. And I know Apple copied a lot of Android things anyways, but it takes them long enough, Like, I don't think they used to have much of a pull-down shade at all, and now they've got this that's more like Android. So at least it's better, but it's still not fully up to Android specifications. Another thing is they're making a big deal out of multitasking on the iPad OS now. And the Apple fanboys are all at Twitter over it. I tried to look into it, and I don't know if I'd ever use it. I don't know if I care. I was thinking, like, what's the big deal? Like, where would you multitask more than anywhere else? You'd multitask on your desktop, right? And what do I do there? Well, I'll be surfing in Chrome, and I'll minimize Chrome, and I'll do something else. That's my multitasking. I minimize the window I'm in, and I do something else. Or I might pop up the calendar from the bottom taskbar, maybe, and calculate something. Not the calendar, the calculator. I don't know. I'm not sure that this, not at all sure that this this multitasking on iPad is all it's cracked up to be. The iPad OS. I mean, I tried to play with it. You have to go learn it, learn what to do. It's not really intuitive. I had to look up tutorials on how to use it. That's never a good sign. Rather than just being there and working its way into my life, so to speak. I'm not sold. I don't know why you'd what you do is stop doing one thing and do another. There's very few use cases I can think of where you're going to be like, oh, let me pull up this other thing on the side. And you just don't do that. I don't do that on my dang 6-core, 12-thread desktop, 32-inch, 1440p monitor. Why would I do it on my stupid little tablet? Now, the next thing is, I was going to talk about using this as a 2-in-1. As I don't think either are good as 2-in-1s. This one doesn't have real mouse support, no matter what the fanboys tell you. It's got blob support. I really don't like that little fake mouse thing. It's so weird. And plus, you got to spend $150 for the keyboard, which, and you still end up with a 3 GB RAM, 32 GB storage machine. This one is probably not powerful enough really to use DeX too much, supposedly. I mean, I would, but it does support DeX, unlike the new Tab S6 Lite. But at least it does have proper mouse support. I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, but the main thing, I've tried using these with DeX a little bit, and they're so small. The screen is so small that honestly, it's not worth it. I have a whole 45-minute video about why 2-in-1s don't work. And the gist of it is you end up with either a small screen and a non-desktop OS, which DeX, is theoretically desktop, but it's not Windows or Chrome OS. And just the screen is really tiny. I don't love it. So to me, just go buy a Chromebook with for $200 with a nice keyboard and big screen. Why would you try to shoehorn this into being your desktop? I do like the idea, and I would still play with it, and I definitely like DeX. I still have this fantasy of you could take this somewhere. It could be your laptop too, but I don't think it's that realistic. And are you really that space contrived that you don't just get an extra, just use a laptop too? That's the thing. That's what I've got that whole 45-minute video about why 2-in-1s aren't a real thing. And the basic gist that I'm trying to point out in it is you either end up with a non-desktop OS and a cramped screen on the one hand if you use a tablet as your laptop, or if you use your laptop as a tablet with a detachable screen, you end up with a really heavy, clunky screen and an OS that isn't very well suited to being a tablet. iPad OS is not suited, or Chrome and Windows are not good for tablet use. And no matter what the Apple fanboys tell you, iPad OS is not good for desktop use. That's why there's Mac OS or whatever they call it. So yeah, nobody's bridged that gap. There's no good, and you're still using a cramped screen. Although this would be somewhat better. The 4x3 larger size would be somewhat better than this. I would agree, but still, you got a cramped screen and a tablet OS, and you don't have real mouse support. Alright, so that's enough for the tablets. I like them. Oh, one bad thing about the Samsung I'll say is it has a glass back, and that means if I drop it, it's toast. I think it has a glass back. I may have to look into it. I honestly cannot tell. That's one stupid thing. I honestly cannot tell by feel if that's plastic or glass, and I never have been able to. I may look into that, because if that's aluminum, I like it better. It feels kind of aluminum to me. This one I can definitely tell is some sort of plastic or aluminum. But I prefer this, to be honest. The glass back problem with those is I have hard floors in my house. Bathrooms, the bedrooms. If I drop it, it's toast. I don't like that, but I like to be able to carry it around all slim. I don't like to necessarily have to put a case on something I don't take outside of my house. So it's why would I want a glass back that the instant it falls, it's gone. It's gone, it's toast with the glass back. With this, for example, I would trust much more that this could take a little tumble and be okay, So yeah, I prefer. I'm thinking this may not be glass. Like I said, the stupid thing is I can't really tell, even on my phones. To me, glass feels the same as anything else, but this feels like metal to me. So I'm not sure. Like this has a glass back, and I can kind of tell, but it just feels like plastic to me, to be honest. Anyway, so let's go to the phone. We're done with the tablets. This is the LG G7 Fit, and I got it for also kind of a niece. And this I got for $150 from B&H Photo on a sale. Again, from Slick Deals. Now, for $150 unlocked, brand new, I think it's a pretty good deal. It's a former flagship that has a glass back, I believe. Yes, I'm 99% positive. Being the LG Fit means it has a few things that, make it the Fit. It has supposedly a really bright screen, 1000 nits screen. If you'll see when you pull down the brightness controls, it talks about this yellow area. It shows, that's like the boost area, I guess. It gives you some kind of warning when you go into it. Okay, it didn't this time. But from reading reviews on it, it hits 1000 nits. It's supposedly really bright. So supposedly the advantage of that is you can use it outside. It's an LCD screen, not an OLED. You can use it outside in the sun, and it'll be really bright. So I guess that's for like joggers and people doing fitness outside. So that's kind of a nice touch. And then the other thing is I believe it's IP something or they're water resistant. So I'm not sure exactly which IP rating it has. But that's another thing. If you're active, you're swimming, whatever, this could be a good phone for you. It's $150. It's basically similar to their G7 flagship from about 2018. It uses a Snapdragon 821 CPU of all things, which is an old one, but it used to be a flagship processor. Now it scores about 1800 single core in Geekbench 4 and 4000 multi-core, which is kind of a little bit like not a great multi-core score, but a pretty good single core score. And that's what I bought it on because I think single core is more important. So an 1800 single core score is more important is more powerful than some mid-range chipsets today. So I think it's still fine. I do notice a little slowdown with it compared to my OnePlus 7 Pro, but nothing bad. Seems fine so far. It's not going to be the fastest thing in the world, but I believe that the chipset for $150, it definitely has a better chipset than a lot of $150 phones would have, and unlocked, because you can't get anything for $150 unlocked. New, which I prefer. I don't like buying used stuff. So yeah, and it feels like a flagship. It feels really nice. It has that flagship feel. Similar to another phone, I usually manage to get these phones for about $150. They're unlocked and feel great. They feel like flagships. Because the last one I got was a Z3 Play, which I think is a similar thing. It feels like a flagship. Really nice phone. Has the OLED display, everything. This one does too. So I'm happy with it. And again, $150 unlocked, no strings attached. You can't get that, or what you're getting for that price is not going to equal this. You make it like a Moto G6 that's like half as powerful. And again, the Snapdragon 821 is hardly a beast, but it still scores nearly like 2000 in Geekbench 4 single core, so it's still capable. It's like a capable mid-ranger in today's terms. Like I said, there is a little slowdown. I noticed a little hitch here and there, but for the most part, it's good. Let me go ahead and, here's the world meters Corona. I am actually liking the size of this phone when I played around with it a little. I honestly may buy a phone of about this size. I believe it has a 6.1 inch display, so I thought it'd be bigger than it is, because my OnePlus 7 Pro is a 6.7 inch display. But in person, the OnePlus 7 Pro is like much bigger than this. But I'm kind of liking the compact size. And I've been thinking about my next phone going to there's a little like strobe light showing up on the filming, but I can't see it with my eye. That's crazy. Up there in the notifications. Weird. Anyways, as far as the brightness, I was kind of interested in what does 1000 nits look like, blah, blah, blah. And I took it out, and compared to my OnePlus 7 Pro, it's not much brighter, if at all. Like outside in sunlight, my OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't seem to get the brightest in sunlight. It's not the most sunlight legible. like my old Samsung S8 seemed much better in sunlight. Even though the OnePlus 7 Pro I think is supposed to be like close to 1,000 nit screen, or at least 800. It's supposed to be, but just in practice, and I noticed other reviews would mention this too. It's not that sunlight legible. But I took it out and compared it to this, and I would say this one's maybe a little brighter in direct sunlight, but not that much. So I don't know if I'm like proud of my OnePlus 7 Pro or like a little disappointed in this and its supposed 1,000 nits. But whatever the case, it is 1,000 nits rated, so that's interesting. And it has, like I said, this little yellow thing is like boost brightness. I think you can set a setting in there that it's temporary, because it'll probably just burn out your battery if you don't make it temporary. Like you set it like, oh, you want boost brightness to last. I set it for 2 minutes, I think. You have to set it up. You can't just use it. But yeah, I don't notice, like I can turn it on here and it's bright, but it's not, it doesn't just blow my mind or anything. One thing I've noticed that, when it's all white, it's pretty bright, I suppose. It is nice and bright here, I suppose. One thing I've noticed with, that subjectively LCDs are much dimmer than OLEDs, because I've compared like a LCD that was like rated for 600 nits or something like that, and it should have been bright enough, but like it seemed dim to me a few phones. So what I've noticed is that subjectively, because you get the true blacks on OLED, they seem much brighter, especially indoors. Like I can think a OLED looks really bright at like 50% brightness indoors, but a lot of LCDs, even super bright ones like this, not so much. And like I said, I believe it's just that high contrast ratio coming through. So I think like 1,000 nits on an LCD is not going to be as impressive as 1,000 nits on an OLED would be. But it gets plenty bright, especially I think for an LCD, because a lot of LCDs come across as kind of dim to me, and it kind of bothers me. I'm a real stickler for brightness altogether, but this one is plenty bright. And like I said, it's a smaller. I can't compare it to my OnePlus 7 Pro, because my OnePlus 7 Pro is what I'm filming this on. But I kind of like this size now. I think I might go for one about this size. In my next phone, like a Samsung S10 or something, E or something like that maybe. But it really points out to me, I love my OnePlus 7 Pro. It's very fast and big, and the brightness held up well compared to this. But yeah, I do like the size, and I'm really thinking I may go with a phone about this size. The one thing I read in the reviews is that the battery life on this is kind of bad, because it's got a Snapdragon 821, which is an old inefficient processor, and it's got like a small battery. But you know what? This thing was at 100% for like a long time, and how long have I been fidgeting with it here? And it's still like 99%. So not to say they were wrong, but again, it doesn't seem to have bad battery life to me at all. Well, we'll see about that. Yeah, not much more to say. I think for $150, you can still get it at BH Photo right now for $170, like $169.99. And I would recommend it if you do. It's only $20 more than I paid. And I think, for a kid, it's a good phone. That's what it's going to be. It's a kid phone, but it's well built. I have a feeling they're going to crack it on the back very quickly, because it's a glass back, being a child. But what are you going to do? That's kind of the way these work, is that you buy them one and it maybe lasts a year if you're lucky. They're kids. What do you expect? And they full of crap, and anyway, so they're like torture tested, as far as bloatware and adware and whatever else. I do have a case coming forth. There's no way this could survive long at all with a kid without a case. One problem is I believe cases are hard to find with this. Everything I've seen on Amazon and stuff, it's hard to get cases because it's an offbeat phone. It wasn't a big seller because it's not the G7. It's the G7 Fit. So we'll see. The case I got for it doesn't seem very protective. It's just like kind of a basic gel case, but there's not many options that are protective looking for it. So I guess we'll have to go with what we got. But yeah, I like the phone. I would kind of like to carry it around a couple days myself just to test it, but I do like the size a lot, and it kind of makes me think I really want to go with a phone around this size for my next one myself. And like I said, you can't get anything for $150 with a decent mid-range CPU, which, despite what everyone on Slick Deals was saying, there's a lot of people that like to bash every deal. This is a decent mid-range CPU, the Snapdragon 821. Like I said, y'all have seen here, finally it went down another percent. I mean, the battery life seems good. I hesitate to say that since all the reviews said it wasn't. It probably isn't. But I'm not a stickler for battery life. And again, it's for a kid, it doesn't matter per se. It's going to be broken a year probably, regardless, if that long. But yeah, for $150, I'm happy with it for a child. Alright, so I guess that's my vid. That's my tech haul about, what did I say, $850 worth of tech or something like that. 250, 350, 7, yeah, and 150 for this. About $850 worth of tech. Just got in the last few days. Alright, everybody, have a good one.